Hey guys, this is Jason from MainstreamGeek.com, and you're listening to the Mainstream Geek Podcast for March 2nd, 2016. Hey guys, how you doing? I'm not going to keep the housekeeping for this episode very long, but just as usual, go to MainstreamGeek.com/iTunes, MainstreamGeek.com/Stitcher/Spreaker/RSS/ whatever way that you choose to listen to podcasts on, /that. And you can probably find the show on that service. I put myself pretty much on every service that's out there, so you can find me that way. Make sure you're subscribed to the show. Also, while you're there, make sure you're leaving me a rating and review. That helps move me up in the charts, that helps people find me, and it helps me grow the show. Also, if you've been thinking of signing up for a service like Loot Crate or NerdBlock, I would really appreciate it if you would go to MainstreamGeek.com/NerdBlock and sign up that way. That way you get yourself something you've been wanting, and you get to support the show a little bit. So that, I think that's all I've got in the way of announcements today. So with all that being said, let's just jump into the show. Today's guest is going to be my buddy Brandon. He's a good, close personal friend of mine, and he's going to be the co-host on Wednesday shows from now on. So if you like him, make sure you tune in every Wednesday, and let's go into what we recorded. Hey Brandon, how you doing?
Hey Jason, not too bad.
Okay, so let's just jump into some news stories and record the episode if you want to. Did you watch the Oscars?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched the monologue, and then I was in and out. It doesn't really excite me, I guess.
Yeah.
To see bunch of rich people hanging around. I don't know.
I was actually more into the idea that, well, actually, there were a bunch of movies that I was really happy were in the Oscars. The Big Short was the one I was hoping would win the night. That was okay. That was my main focus for the evening. I wanted Leo to win an Oscar, obviously.
When did that become a thing? I feel like that wasn't. I didn't realize that until this year that he had never won.
What do you mean by when did it become a thing?
Like, that was the big story, was that is Leo finally going to get his Oscar? And then after it was like, oh, he finally got it. And I felt like it was never a story until this year.
I feel like what happened there is, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like what happened is that around, when did Django Unchained come out? 2012?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think he was nominated for that movie, and that movie was looked at as like it was snubbed overall because I didn't win that year, and he didn't win, and people wanted. And then I think people started noticing that he had never won one, even though he's like this amazing actor.
Right.
And then he's been nominated. I think this year was his 6th time. Does that sound right?
5th or 6th. I was looking at the movies the other day.
Yeah.
Because he was nominated as a producer for one movie, but that I can't remember off the top of my head, but not not the actor.
So like 5 times as an actor and 1 time as a producer.
Right.
Anyways, he lost for that one, and I feel like that's when it became a big deal that Leo has never won an Oscar before. And then he was in Wolf of Wall Street, which he should have won for. Have you seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
He should have won for that one totally. Mm-hmm. It's like
there's a lot of movies he should have won for, really.
I can never think of I can't think of a movie that he's not great in. Even Titanic. I mean, I don't like that movie, but he's good in it. Even Growing Pains, he was good in that. I haven't seen Growing Pains since I was 9 years old, probably is when it was on. But I think he was good in it. But that's why it was a big deal that he won. Mad Max, that was another reason I wanted to watch the Oscars this year, because I can't believe that one was. Have you seen Mad Max, Jerry?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
I have. Interestingly enough, I haven't seen any of the old ones.
Ones?
The original ones, Mad Max.
Right.
You know.
Well, only like 2 of them are good. Well, 2 of the 3. I guess 2 out of 3 of the old ones are good. So that's not a bad batting average if you really think about it. But I can't believe that this one was nominated for so many things, especially the Best Picture category.
Best Picture.
It doesn't fit with those other movies that came out.
No, but there's always 1 or 2 movies now that they've expanded the field that is sort of the popcorn.
That
the popcorn
radical of a movie, though?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a popular movie, and it was definitely it's one long action shot through the whole movie, so it fits that action, that popcorn flick more than any of them.
It's definitely stylish.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
That definitely had some good direction to it. I can't believe how many Oscars it won. I think it won 6. Is that how many it took home?
Yeah, I think so.
Every time that it won one, I was like, "Are you? It won that too?" Like it seemed like for a long stretch there in the middle, it was just like Mad Max, Mad Max. It was like costume design, sound design, sound editing. I can't remember them all. There were so many of them. But Spotlight, have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
I just watched it last night for the first time, and it's a good movie. But I don't know if I would have picked that to be the best movie of the year.
It always seems like the winner is always the sort of artsier one. It's never like one that I'm necessarily even interested in seeing. It's like you said, like after you watch it, it's a good movie, but it's not like amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely a good movie.
Yeah,
and like
the winner never seems to be that way.
And when I was watching it, I never wanted to turn it off. I was into it. It's just like if you watch The Big Short, that's a movie where not only are you into it, you're invested in it, but like it hits on so many. It's funny and it has a good story and it has great, phenomenal acting. And I just think Big Short should have won Movie of the Year. Or what do they call that? Best Picture, or is that
Best Picture?
Best Picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, when I was when I was watching Spotlight last night, it made me do some thinking about actors in these Oscar movies. So I did a little research. Get this, man. Out of the 7 movies that were in the category, like 6 of them, I think it was 6. Yeah, 6 of them were pretty much cast by superhero movie actors.
Is that right?
Yeah, check this out. Make sure I got my stuff. I made a list so I could make sure I'm getting my facts right. Spotlight had Michael Keaton, Batman.
Okay.
Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk. Liev Schreiber, he was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. John Slattery, who is Tony Stark's dad. He's Roger Sterling from Mad Men.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's Tony Stark's dad.
Right.
Rachel
Christian
McAdams.
Bale.
He wasn't in Spotlight.
But he was in another one that was nominated.
Yeah. Rachel McAdams was in Spotlight. Billy Crudup was in Spotlight. All those guys are in comic book movies. Mad Max had Nicholas Hoult, who's the Beast in the X-Men movies. The Revenant and Brooklyn had Domhnall Gleeson. Is that how you say his name? Domhnall?
Yeah.
He's in
Domhnall. Yeah, something like that.
He's in Star Wars.
Right.
The Martian had Kate Mara, Chiwetel Ejiofor, or Chewie, however you say his name. Michael Pena from Ant-Man, and Sebastian Stan, who's the Winter Soldier. And then The Big Short was written and directed by Adam McKay, has Christian Bale, and Marissa Tomei, who's going to be Peter Parker's aunt in the new Spider-Man movies. So
there you go.
So 6 of the 7, the only one that didn't have anybody was Room. That didn't have anybody from a comic book movie that I know of, at least.
But the kid in Room is a big Star Wars fan, so there you go.
Yeah, he was stoked during the show when that C-3PO and BB-8 came out.
Yeah, he's a big Star Wars fan, and I guess he said I read some story where did he win an Oscar? Did he win?
He
something?
won. I don't think he wasn't even nominated for an Oscar, but he won a bunch of awards for that movie. He's great in that movie.
He said he was going to put his award, whatever it was, next to his Millennium Falcon.
Oh, that's awesome!
So,
he's such a cute kid, man. Oh, you know, I just it's not on my list, but I just realized this. In The Big Short, Margot Robbie is also in that. Just like she has a cameo as herself in the movie. But Star Wars didn't win any statues, even though it was nominated for sound design, sound editing. Was it special effects?
Production design, and soundtrack. I
can't believe it didn't win soundtrack.
I know it should have won score, best original score. Yeah, definitely.
My wife and I were watching it, and the every time it came up for one, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be the one." I think it was on sound design. I was like, "This is gonna be the one." But then Mad Max won it,
right?
And then for score, I was like, "Oh, this has to be the one they won," because I figured they'd at least give them one. Nothing. I can't believe that.
I know. Kind of disappointing, but it's. I don't know what to say about the sound. Who won the soundtrack one? The best original score, was that Mad Max as well?
I think it might have been Mad Max also.
Yeah,
I might be wrong about that. I can check real quick.
The only music I remember from Mad Max is that annoying guy that was playing the guitar when they were, which was funny to me and it was memorable. But I don't know, the music of Star Wars, I guess.
Oh, you know what? You know who won it? Hateful Eight won Best Score, which
Oh,
is
that's
was
right.
actually a pretty good
That's
score.
right.
Yeah,
Well, okay.
yeah.
All right, Quentin.
We can move on. Like now that we're talking about Star Wars a little bit, though, let's move on to some Star Wars news. The Star Wars home release news. You sent me the. They had the cover the other day.
Right.
It has BB-8 on the front. What do you think of the cover of the Star Wars home release?
Well, it is a little underwhelming, but I feel like it's not the main cover. I feel like this is going to be where it came from was Walmart.com posted a pre-release of the Force Awakens for pre-order, and that's the image that had on. And then soon after that, has since been taken down. But I feel like that's only going to be one of 4 or 5 covers. I think there's going to be one with BB-8, one with Rey, Finn, and then probably Kylo Ren.
Oh yeah,
at the minimum.
So you didn't see it on Walmart.com yourself. It was just something that was up there.
No, that's where the image came from. Yeah.
Huh.
So I feel like it's going to be one of many covers, and there might even be exclusives. You know, that might be Walmart's exclusive, and then you go somewhere else and you can get another exclusive, Target exclusive.
Let me ask you this: you're unabashedly
Yeah.
a person who will spend money on Star Wars even when it's not necessary.
True.
Are all 4 something that you will buy? And subsequent question: would you buy all 4 and the standard case or standard box?
Standard box.
Yeah,
Oh, like if there was a
standard, like with the movie poster in the front.
No.
Which one?
No,
which one
I'm
are you
not
going to
go
get?
that crazy.
If there are that many.
I would probably either if they were given the options that I just went over,
Right.
I would probably either get Rey or I don't know, maybe Rey or Kylo Ren, maybe one of those two. But I'm not going to get more than one.
I think I'd go for the standard cover. If I go and buy it. See, here's my dilemma with that. I don't want to buy this and then an awesome box set come out a few years down the line.
Like 4 years.
I don't know, man. Because then
5 years.
You know me. I don't even buy physical media anymore. I do all digital. So I'm buying these just because they're Star Wars. So I'm going to have. I would rather have a box set with 1 through 9 in it instead of having a box set with 1 through 9 and 7, 8, and 9 sitting there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I got you. But for me, I couldn't wait that long to get this one, and it's just easier for me because I'm not as technologically savvy as you are to get the Blu-ray and pop it in and go from there. But yeah, I think that's where we're looking at for the covers. I think it's going to be an exclusive type of thing. There's going to be lots of varieties. But what I am thinking about doing is buying the Blu-ray and getting a digital copy so I can watch on my iPad.
I definitely wouldn't buy just a digital copy. For some reason, I don't like buying digital copies. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I didn't say I stopped myself and I said getting before I said buy. But yes,
I just don't like the idea of paying. Now, if they were cheaper, I don't want to pay $20 for something where I don't have something
full
physical in my
price,
hand.
right? Yeah.
It should be a little bit cheaper. I would pay. Let me ask you this: if say, what's the movie? Okay, Batman v Superman is coming out in theaters. This is hypothetical. Say that Warner Brothers announces that they're going to allow you, instead of going to the theater, you can pay a high rental price, like $20 to rent it at home. Would you rather have the ability to do that instead of going to the movie theater, or would you? Is that something you'd be interested in? I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't think at that price point, $20 to watch the movie once.
5 of your buddies together and each pay $4. You know?
Yeah, I guess, but I couldn't see myself doing that. I don't think so. At that price point now, I wouldn't be interested in that.
So for a movie like Batman v Superman,
then I'd have to clean my house.
For a movie like Batman v Superman, I'd probably want to see it in theaters. But for one of these smaller movies like The Big Short, I didn't see it in theaters.
Right.
So, but I was interested in seeing it when it was in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I might do it for a movie like that, but not for like a movie where you need to be in a big theater with a big screen, have that crazy sound system.
Sure.
Yeah,
I might do it for $10. You might have me for $10.
Just for the convenience of being at home?
Right. If it was something like The Big Short or a movie like that.
Yeah, it's a date night for $10 right there, you know?
Right.
Order
yeah.
a pizza, sit there and get fat with your wife. It's
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next piece of Star Wars news we have is you sent me a story about the gay characters in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's been around the internet recently. There was an interview with J.J. Abrams, and someone asked him if he ever thought there would be a gay character in Star Wars, or if he would like that. And he said absolutely. He said if you're thinking about the sexuality of, or if you're watching Star Wars and you're thinking Luke Skywalker is concerned about the sexuality of a character, then you're missing the point of Star Wars.
Yeah, that was I didn't read the quote, but yeah, that was my thought of thing. Like, my thought was, of course there can be gay characters. It's the universe. There's gay characters in Star Wars. They probably have been, and we just don't know about it because we don't talk about their sexuality in Star Wars.
Exactly.
But I took what you sent me as him saying that there were going to be in episode 8 or 9 openly gay characters in the series.
I think he sort of implied that there probably will be, or that there probably should be, or something like that. I think he was giving more of a PC answer with that than anything that he's knowledgeable of.
Yeah, why would you make it a point to focus on that someone's gay? I mean, I don't know. It just seems like that'd be a wasted 2 or 3 minutes of the screen time that you only get a limited amount for. You get 2 hours on the screen every other year, and you're wasting 2 or 3 minutes of that making about someone's sexuality when nothing in Star Wars has to do with sexuality at all.
Well, I mean, there's romance and there's relationships. So, I mean, I guess if you are doing it to fit the story, and you have a main character that has a romantic interest that's of the same sex, then it would make sense for the story. You have Han and Leia, and you have, that's basically the only one in the original trilogy, isn't it? Then you have the prequels with Padme and Anakin. So, I mean, there's relationships and there's love interests.
I guess you're right. And he did have to have sex with her to get her pregnant to have Luke and Leia. So I guess there is some sort of loose version of sexuality in the Star Wars movies.
Right.
So yeah, I guess as long as it suits the story, yeah, it makes sense. But
I would like to see it happen. I mean, I think I don't know. Star Wars is a commentary on our society more than a lot of things in pop culture. It's all a big allegory of what we're dealing with, issues that we're dealing with, and at the time, the original Star Wars was a major commentary on Vietnam, and
was it really?
Some of it had to do with some Vietnam issues.
I had never heard that before.
World War II, a lot of World War II allegory.
I can see that.
Yeah, but George Lucas was writing Apocalypse Now at the same time he was trying to get Star Wars made.
Wait a minute. George Lucas wrote Apocalypse Now?
He did.
I never knew that.
Yeah, he was going to direct that, but after he did Star Wars, but he was bogged down with Star Wars, so he gave it to his buddy. Well, I think he wrote it with Francis Ford Coppola, or
I knew they were friends, yeah, but I didn't know George Lucas wrote it.
Francis Ford Coppola was ready to move forward with it, but George was tied down with Star Wars, and so Francis Ford Coppola didn't want to wait, so he made it. They made it at the same time. He was making that movie at the same time, but anyway, my point is that I think it would be fitting in Star Wars if you had some kind of commentary on what things that are going on in the modern day world. And there's a lot of inclusion things like that are going on in our world every day. So, but if it's like you said, if they just shoehorn it in there as just because of the fact that they want to do that, that would be bad. I wouldn't enjoy that at all. But if it was something like, Captain Phasma could be gay.
Oh, she definitely is.
She probably is.
Yeah.
But but if it's something mentioned in a novel or something,
Oh yeah, that's true. What you're saying is, so if it's mentioned in a novel, the way it could work out is in the novel it's expressed that I think there has been a gay Star Wars character in a novel.
There has been. A couple.
So it's not that they'd mention it in the movie that he's gay, but if you're a person who has read the novels, then and that character happens to be in the movie, then you would have that backstory to him, but it's not necessary to the story in the film itself.
Exactly.
So okay,
and not that they have to hide it in the movie, but it's just you don't want something to be like that to be shoehorned in, or anything like any relationship.
Well, in
status,
real
gay or
life,
straight.
You don't like. If I was a gay man, I would be offended if somebody wanted to clarify if I was gay with every conversation we had. So it doesn't. You don't have to. So I don't even know why it would be really needed. Like these comments. I know what you said before, that he was trying to be PC and open to the idea. He wasn't actually saying it was going to happen. It was just
right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We got one more Star Wars story before we move on to the meat of the show, I guess. Daisy Ridley says that Episode 8 will pick up exactly where Episode 7 left off.
Yeah. Which I thought it was kind of sneaky of that interviewer. Did you watch the little clip?
No, I didn't. I saw the news story, but I didn't see the clip.
It was an MTV News reporter, and I don't know his name, but he prefaced the question by saying, "Oh, it's kind of different, but because we've never seen a Star Wars movie that picks up right off where the old one left off." And then he asked the question, and she was like, "Yeah, blah blah blah," and she was like, and then she went on to say how it was strange to be at the same set filming the same scene with a different crew. So she totally confirmed it, but it was kind of tricky how he tricked her into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something that I wasn't quite sure, because even the production kickoff video that they had on StarWars.com showed the same clip that we know at the end of Force Awakens, but it could very well have been the same shoot from JJ, just from different angles, But then they cut to, the new crew and stuff being there and saying, "Cut. This is Episode 8." Blah blah blah.
Well, something I had heard about that scene that was shot that we saw at the end of Episode 7 was that Rian Johnson was actually there directing that. Because they had to get special permission. Oh, what's the place called where they filmed that?
Skellig Michael.
Skellig Michael. They had to get a lot of special permission. It was a bitch to get to shoot there in the first place.
Yeah.
So they actually shot. Rian Johnson was there and shot that. So the teaser that we got a couple weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, where it showed that production's begun on Episode 8, that's been done for a while. That's not.
That has.
Yeah.
They started, but I think if I'm trying to remember correctly, they shot there with JJ and everybody from the 7 crew, and then it was maybe a month or two after principal photography, and they were in
post-production
post-production. Thank you, of Force Awakens, that there was reports that they were going back to Skellig Michael. Now at the time, it was thought that was a pickup shot, but it really was Rian Johnson and his crew beginning the very early scenes of Episode 8 because of weather and timing on that island. They had to get there before it became the rainy season or whatever.
So they probably had, when they got that permission to shoot there, they had it for like a window of time.
Right. Right, probably.
Yeah, so they didn't have to get...
Whether it was permission or whether it was weather related, or to get the sun in the right location and all of that stuff, not have enough cloud cover or not have too much cloud cover on the island and things like that.
It gets pretty rainy there too.
Yeah. Right. So I think that's where people think that Rian Johnson shot the last scene of 7 is because of that, because it was very close to the end of the post production for Episode 7.
Speaking of Episode 8, the other day I sent you that story about the leaked title for the Episode 8, Tale of the Jedi Temple. Now, I gotta say, I'm not a fan of that title, and it's definitely not real. If that's real, I'll walk in mad about that. Like I always say,
I'll walk into the theater with my money.
They have my money. It doesn't matter what the title is right now. They can call it poo 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 poo, and it would be they have my cash. But that's not gonna be the name of the title. That's gonna be the name of the movie. What do you think the title? Do you have any idea what the title could be? I read one the other day that I actually really liked. and I think it would kind of fit with where I hope the story is going. It was Rise of the First Order.
Okay.
Yeah. So because this movie was the First Order in this movie was kind of like this was their first outing. Like they weren't like a big force like the Empire was. So the next movie would be them trying to really establish themselves. They have like a kind of a hard on because they got fucked up so bad in this movie.
Right.
Or the previous movie.
Right.
I kind of like that one. I don't know if I want that one, but out of all the ones I've heard, I kind of like that one. Have you heard any other ones?
I have not heard any other ones, and I can't believe I haven't been speculating about that because I've been so preoccupied with all the other Star Wars stuff going on that I guess I haven't had time to postulate about that. But I like that one, Rise of the First Order. That seems to fit with, I mean, if you think about the Empire Strikes Back, I mean, that's sort of that would be a logical jump from there. I like that too.
You and I have kind of a tricky situation where we like to read all this movie news and stuff like that, but you and I are desperately trying to not have anything spoiled for us. So every news story that we click on, we have to like kind of like wonder if we should click on this. And in the age of Facebook and stuff like that, that's a really hard thing to accomplish, not having things spoiled. I've clicked on news stories twice, once for episode 7 and already for episode 8, which I'm sure the episode 8 one isn't true, but the episode 7 one was true. So I'm kind of worried that the one that I read for episode 8 is true also, because that was quite a while ago when I had that spoiled for me, right?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
That was, I think that was coming out, you're talking about the episode 7 spoiler.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah.
But which I don't think we have to refer to as...
No.
I mean, everybody's seen it at this point. I'm talking about... in this article, they said Han Solo dies. Like, and they told how he died. And they were right about every bit of it. And now, I don't remember clearly if they said that he walked down on a bridge and Ren stabbed him, and it gave all of that info.
Right.
But I remember they said Kylo Ren kills Han Solo, and that Kylo Ren was his son. And
it said that, too.
It said the whole... Like, when I was watching the movie,
man.
I was like, shit. I was
that sucks
because that just told me when I was watching episode 7 that like I can't read anything from here on out. Like that was my bummer. The whole bummer. I can't like be involved in this the speculative game of Star Wars.
The build up, yeah. That was tough. That was what was tough about 7 was that it was very exciting to sort of get any kind of morsel that you could get about the making of that movie and the writing. And the concept arts would leak. I mean, that was very exciting. But yeah, it was a dangerous game. I think I remember hearing something, a rumor, even that I heard, even though I was trying to not read all of that stuff about Han Solo dying, and that was in the summer. So that was because I remember mowing the grass when I was listening to a podcast about it.
Oh,
so.
That's the worst. That's a super sneak attack because you weren't even soliciting that one. You weren't clicking on anything. You're just listening to something and enjoying your day, and they just pop that in your goddamn ears.
Right. Because at that time they were going through rumors that they had heard and deciding if they had merit to them or if they were, could be debunked, so they were kind of debating all of those, and that was one that they went over.
Oh.
But it was just that he died. It wasn't that any other details.
No details.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think
tough.
That kind of rounds out the time we have for a news section. Let's move on to the main meat and potatoes of the show, if you want to. We're gonna.
Okay.
Brandon and I both watched The Walking Dead, and we both have kind of varying. Would you say we have varying opinions on the show? Meaning
that you and I differ, or that we both have varying opinions of the show?
I think, like in most things with life, I kind of go to the extreme of like, oh my god, with things, and you kind of have an attitude of you give things a bigger chance than I do. Would you say that's a fair thing to say?
I'd say that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what it is with The Walking Dead with this. I feel like that you are you happily give it more chances, and I kind of begrudgingly keep giving it a chance.
I would say that's been historically true, but in the past season, 2 seasons,
the past half season. You mean?
No, this current season, including the past half season and the season before.
Okay,
I've been more on your side, where it's more negative than it is positive.
What are your thoughts on the half season that we're in now, season 6, part 2? What are your thoughts on the most current 3 episodes?
I thought the finale or the premiere was pretty good. There were some issues I had with it that were mostly like how the heck did that happen?
Right.
You know, but the second episode was a little boring, as I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And the third episode, actually, there were some issues I had with it as well, but I actually enjoyed that episode. I thought it had a good arc, and it was interesting. And there was actually, we'll get to it, but there's actually parts that I actually was really enjoying the trajectory of the plot.
I have to say, this half season, I'm actually enjoying the hell out of it. Now,
oh, good.
It does have a bit of a handicap, though, because I'm watching it and be like, well, this is great for Walking Dead, you know? You know, it's not, they're following the comic book. You and I read the comic books together. I think we stopped at around the same point also.
I think so, yeah.
Around the time that Glenn passed away.
Right. Passed away. Let's be respectful.
Also, we're probably going to spoil things here, so if you don't want to know anything about Walking Dead or you haven't watched it and you have to catch up, this is the time to turn it off. So probably do
Might
that.
be too late for that because you already mentioned Glenn.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about that too, actually. I had that in my notes to bring up. But I'm actually really enjoying it. I feel like the first episode of this half season could have been the finale. It would have been better suited as the finale of last season with Carl getting his eye shot out and leaving it at that, and then starting up with that second episode where what exactly happened in the second episode again?
That's what I'm trying to remember. There was something with
it's where Jesus showed up.
Right, Jesus showed up. They chased him around.
Yeah, I feel like that episode would have been a better season half season opener. I'm just going to say, from this point on, I'm just saying season because I'm not going to be able to say half season every time. I'll just forget to say half. But that episode would have been a better half season opener than the one that we got. Not that there's anything wrong with the episode. I just feel like the pacing would have been better. Now, I'm really enjoying the season. I'm really enjoying where the story's going. I'm enjoying how it's following the comic book pretty close. The only problem I do have with that is, and this is just my unpleasable nature, is that as I was watching it, the newest episode, I was thinking to myself, man, this is following the comic book so closely that I feel like I know everything that's getting ready to happen. So that kind of took me like, I don't want to say out of it, but it did kind of make me like, I hope they changed up enough to where I'm still surprised by stuff. But other than that, I think it's been great. I'm interested in the story again. I'm interested in the characters again. I think they're interesting again. So I'm having fun with it this time around. Let me ask you this, since it's following the comic book so closely.
Sure.
As we know, they're building up to Negan, and they're taking and Walking Dead's TV show style. They're taking their fucking sweet time with it. But I think they're doing the pacing appropriately. Do you think the Glenn again, spoilers? Do you think Negan bashing Glenn's skull in with a baseball bat is going to happen in the show?
Yes.
You think that's how it's going to end up?
Maybe. Yeah, it's got to be the baseball bat because that's a character as well. His baseball bat is a character in the show.
I'm not asking the baseball bat. I'm asking, do you think they'll take the baseball bat and kill Glenn with the baseball bat? Do you think Glenn will die as a result of Negan being a part of the show?
Yes, I think Negan is going to kill Glenn just like he does in the comic.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's break down the episode real fast, and then we can get into all this.
And also, I think it'll happen in the finale of this season.
That's actually part of the show notes I have. So
okay.
Yeah, because I have a bunch of questions for you. I just wanted to tease everybody with some stuff. Okay, so let's break down the episode. It starts off with what's the redheaded guy? Abraham and Sasha walking into the Alexandria from the patrol. And Abraham is talking about how he has a problem with Glenn and Maggie being pregnant or having a baby or getting ready to have a baby, I suppose.
Right.
But I don't understand what he wants them to do in the zombie apocalypse to prevent pregnancy. They don't have contraception at this point. Condoms have to be dry rot. Well, I don't know. Condoms last quite a while, don't they?
They do, but how long has it been even? It hasn't even been that long, has it?
It can't have been longer. Actually, that's a good question because I was thinking about this while I was watching the show when they were loading up the Winnebago. Because gasoline goes bad. Condoms do go bad at a certain point. The baby, what's her name? Judith?
Judith.
Yeah, she's maybe you have a kid. You have kids. How old would you say that baby is? A year old?
She's a year.
A year,
if that even.
Okay, so
but she did age between the last half season and this half season.
Yeah.
She's a little bit older.
But like currently,
might...
she's about a year old, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, say the wife, Lori, she had been pregnant when the show started because there's a question of who the father is. So let's say they're logically they're about 2 years into this whole thing. Right about that.
So condoms are still good.
Condoms last for 2 years. What about gasoline though? Gasoline goes bad. And gasoline only lasts about 12 months. So that also doesn't fit the timeline too well. I mean, it's a show about zombies, so we can't get too hung up on stuff like that.
Sure.
You gotta.
Sure.
But anyways, back to Abraham and Sasha. Is he sweet on her?
Yes.
He has a thing for her.
He does, yeah, because he saw her before he went later in the episode. Didn't he see her or heard her voice or something when he was almost dying, when that guy was choking him out? I wasn't clear what he was hearing there at that moment, actually.
I know he got like altruistic for a second. Is that the right word? He got kind of some kind of he got spacey for some reason. He became happy and jubilant.
Right. Euphoric.
Euphoric. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. But he's still banging the Mexican chick or the Hispanic chick.
Right. Right.
Rosita.
She looked super hot in that scene.
Oh my God! Right.
And before, she's I've seen her in real life, and she is super attractive. But in the episode, she's always dirty and grimy and has baseball hats on and everything else. But in that scene, she was looking her best.
I always think she's super sexy. I thought
really, I thought she was always a little, I don't know,
I kind of like dirty chicks though. Man.
Yeah, maybe.
I was actually wondering because the last time I remember them fucking each other banging each other was
making love.
There was this episode a couple seasons back maybe where she and he were in the library having sex, and that Eugene guy
was watching.
Yeah, and then
creepy.
I feel like after he beat the shit out of Eugene, she got mad at him. And I can't remember because this is back when the show is bad. Like really, this is like in the height of the bad. And
right.
So I kind of have a tough time remembering all the convoluted plot points of the show at that point. Am I wrong about that?
I'm also trying to remember if that was just a dropped plot point or what. Did they ever reconcile those issues or?
Yeah, sometimes I do wonder if a drop plot point in the show is just par for the course, because like it just seems like they have like a basic idea of what they're doing, but then they kind of just come in and out as they feel like it suits that particular episode, and they don't really care. But she gives him this necklace from the taillight of the fuel truck, right? That happens there. And he says that she's damn near perfect. It's damn near perfection. That's what he says to her, right?
Right.
So, so that's why I'm asking if he's sweet on Sasha,
right?
Because like he's obviously into Rosita, but I feel like he's into Sasha too.
But you notice as soon as Rosita left his sight, then his face changed, and it was almost, to me it seemed like almost like he was living a lie, like he was not being truthful to himself or Rosita.
Yeah.
And he was thinking about Sasha.
Yeah.
So his whole subplot of this episode I wasn't really a fan of.
They weren't very clear on. I guess they'll probably clear it up later on what he becomes so euphoric about later on. Sometimes I don't get his character at all, actually. But then we go outside, and Maggie's gardening at night for some reason. I don't know why she was doing that. But I do understand what the scene has to do with. They're setting up that the camp has food problems, like they have a shortage of food, and then all of a sudden, was there a gunshot, or is that I remember there was a loud bang, and all of a sudden they look over and they see Abraham, who's not in the house taking a shower with Rosita like he said he was getting ready to. He's running into what's the new doctor's name? The lesbian girl that's with Denise. Is it Denise?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. He's running into her house, and that seemed way out of place, because how the hell did Abraham go from being naked at that moment and getting ready to get in the shower with Rosita to being? So that was kind of like a dropped thread in the plot, I think. But who cares?
Maybe it was an hour later or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
They didn't show that passage of time very well if it was.
Right.
But I'm guessing what happened there is Denise was telling Abraham that Jesus had escaped from because they had him in the basement, and then as we saw at the end of the last episode, he was in Rick's bedroom. So then it cuts all of a sudden into Rick's house where Jesus is looking. What was that painting on the wall? It was a Queen of Spades. Was that what that was?
I don't remember the painting, actually.
He was looking at a painting of a playing card.
I remember him.
Some sort.
Oh, okay.
And I
remember him looking at a painting, but I didn't pay attention to what it was.
And he just takes it off the wall. I'm not sure why a painting of the Queen of Spades was such a thing that they had to put in. Like, of all the art in the world, it was a shitty painted painting, first of all. Like something you'd see in a painting wine class, you know?
Okay.
But why, what, does that have something to do with, like, is that like subtext for the plot or something like that? Like the writers are trying to be clever and they just don't pull it off like they often don't in the show?
Probably. I would guess that definitely. And I felt like at times in the previous episode and this one, they were kind of playing him a little too mysterious. And like the Jesus in the comic book is a good dude, and he's has the best intentions. And they were playing a little bit too much on this. Oh, he's a mysterious guy. You don't know if you can trust him. What's he doing? He's a weirdo. It's looking at a picture. What's going to happen? Does he have superpowers? I just felt like it was a little too heavy-handed.
Yeah. Also, his costume design is fucking terrible. Like the obvious wig and obvious fake beard. It's pretty bad. But again, it's Walking Dead. They get a pass because they're doing semi-well. Like they're giving us a C for another show, but they're giving it an A for their show.
Well,
what?
Yeah. It's just I don't understand how these other shows can have seems like they have a bigger budget than this show does. This show seems to have a limitation on budget, although it's making a lot of money.
Crazy amounts of money. It's the biggest show on TV, isn't it?
I think, and the biggest show on cable, yeah.
I think it might be the biggest show on TV. I'm not positive on that, but I feel like I've heard that it's the biggest show on TV.
Well, at either rate, it's like you have shows that are on. Maybe HBO is not a good example because, well, maybe it is.
Yeah, it's the same budget for this show as Game of Thrones has.
And that's crazy to me because Game of Thrones seems like a feature film quality at times, and Walking Dead just seems like a step above. At times, seems like what's that Stephen King book, The Stand? Did you ever watch that TV series?
It feels like it's that sometimes.
It feels like that a lot.
Well, here's what happens with that. The guy that wrote this is a good example. The guy that wrote this episode that happened this week, you know what he comes from? He used to write episodes of the syndicated TV show Timon and Pumbaa. Like that's where he's from. That's his past. They hire people that do stuff like that. That's where they come from. So that like AMC just tries to cut corners. Like AMC has such potential to do such great shows. Like they did Mad Men and Breaking Bad.
Sure.
Like, I don't know how they fall so short with this one, which is a home run. If they would just do it well, it would be. Right. I mean, it's a home run. But Carl jumps out and points a gun at Jesus, and then he says Jesus tells him that he's waiting on his mom and dad, which confuses Carl because I guess Carl didn't know. Which answered my question because when they had sex last time. When Rick and Michonne had sex, I was like, is this the first time this has happened? Because I kind of got the vibe at the beginning of the episode that they were a happy couple, like they'd been cohabitating for a bit, right? Because they
seemed sort of domesticated, didn't they?
Right, yeah.
And like they were sharing husband and wife type jokes to each other.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, that was the first time that had happened.
Yeah, and they clear that up later on in the episode. So they all sit down and talk to Jesus, and apparently when he escaped from their little makeshift prison, he had a chance to go through the entire place because he knew exactly how many people, somehow. I don't know how he counted everybody and was sure of it.
Because he's mysterious, and we don't know if we can trust him.
Yeah. And he had gone through the armory. He'd scoped out the entire place.
Right.
And he said something that was interesting to me. He said that they were on the same side, the living side, which that seems to me like he's grouping everybody alive against everybody that's dead, which I guess is technically right. But we find out later that his group has been dealing with Negan, which they're obviously not on the same side. So that's kind of a weird statement, I thought. We're looking back after seeing the entire episode.
Well, it was obvious he didn't want to. At that point, he didn't want to mention Negan to them because he didn't want to. Because they were there, they spent all that time together. They got to the hilltop, yeah,
Yeah,
and it wasn't until Negan's dude showed up, or that former dude that was whatever their connection was, that he even brought up Negan. So it was obvious he was waiting for the right time to bring that up. So
yeah, he said that there's more going on here than you know about, and like I haven't told you yet. Yeah, so I guess you're right about that. So that makes sense. So maybe he was trying to hide that from them.
Yeah.
So, well, hold on one second here. My computer's acting a little weird. Then we see the group, and there's he invites them to come back to his settlement. And then we show the group loading up the Winnebago because they're just going to go with him. I don't understand how they trusted him so quickly. This guy who's obviously kind of mischievous, they're just trusting him. They're going to load him up without handcuffing him and shit, and just take him and go back to where he's from. Which in almost every season they've had trouble with going somewhere with somebody. And
yeah, I think it sort of plays on their confidence. I feel like they feel like they could take out anybody because they're such badasses that it doesn't matter how many people they have or whatever. But it's a little unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a little weird to me.
Yeah.
Rick comes clean to Carl about Michonne, which so
he's cool with. He's like, all right.
Yeah, that's where we find out that this is the first that was the first time that had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And Carl says he's going to stay behind. He's not going with them because he's going Gabriel to be the one guarding the place. And
can't blame him there.
Yeah, and he doesn't want the first impression to be a kid with a messed up face with the new people.
Yeah.
Then we're on the Winnebago, and Abraham asked Glenn about if he meant to get Maggie pregnant by
pancakes and
pouring the Bisquick. He called it pouring the Bisquick. And Glenn said that they were trying to have a baby. What do you think about that? Is that a good thing to do? And the zombie have a baby? Is that the most pertinent thing to do?
No, it's not a good thing to do.
No, it's not at all.
Not at all.
I get the point of view of like, what's the point in trying to survive if you're not going to try to rebuild humanity? But they've been at what's the name of the place that they're staying? What's the name of their settlement?
Alexandria
for a month and a half now, maybe. Because you have to remember, last half season was over the course of like a day and a half.
Right.
So
right.
So they've been at Alexandria for maybe a month and a half at this point, and they just decided that we're safe to have kids now, even though that's like barring all knowledge of their past, which every place that they've settled down at has been destroyed and overrun by either zombies or somebody else allowing zombies to overrun it.
Right.
So that just seems like a stupid kind of plot hole to me there.
Yeah.
What's that?
It does. You're right.
Yeah. Rick and Michonne. We're getting very mom and daddy in the front seat. Did you notice that? Like they're like that's way too cuddly to be the first day after you like have decided. They had sex. They weren't even in a relationship. They were they had sex. They don't know what that is yet. They literally had no time to process what just happened.
I also feel like they're kind of forcing, especially in the last episode. They were kind of forcing Michonne's flirty side on us all of a sudden. Like it came out of nowhere. All of a sudden she was smiling and she was flirting with Rick. And that just seemed way out of character for what we've been given to her so far.
I'll give her this, though. She has a cute flirty side to her. I wouldn't have thought that about her just based upon the character. I guess because I don't know her as an actress and anything else. But she has a cute flirty side to her. Oh,
sure. Yeah, she's beautiful. But it's I guess probably because they kind of screwed up this character from the beginning because we spent the whole first season with Michonne and she was just growling, staring at people and growling at them, and so it was never a three-dimensional character from the jump. So to me, it just seems a little jarring now that they try to force this sexuality. Flirtiness on the side of her because of the way they've treated her character so far. It's not that she can't have that side of her. It's just a little like, where the hell did this come from?
I feel like they're doing that with a lot of the characters all of a sudden. Like they're giving everybody like here's the new side of my character you've never seen before. Get used to it, buddy, because that's what you got.
Right.
But then they come up on a car crash and it happens to be one of Jesus' group's cars, and the group is inside of this house, and of course out of nowhere they suspect Jesus of doing something, even though they've been completely trusting of him this entire time.
All of a sudden they pull a gun on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell
that.
This is the scene that they spent the money on, because they lingered on the car for about 5 hours.
Yeah, they always have one of those set pieces. And I think
always do.
This is the only place in the show where we saw zombies, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. You're right.
So they go to the house the group is in, Jesus' group is in, and they handcuff Jesus out front and leave him with Maggie. This guy who's proven that he can... Okay, here's a thing that bothered me with the last episode. They tied him up on the road, and they said, you'll be able to get out, it'll just take you some time, and they drive off. The dude had enough time to get out of those knots that they tied and jump on top of the truck somehow. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but get on top of the truck, but they think that handcuffs are going to keep him somehow, and they're going to leave the pregnant woman outside with him. Isn't that a little crazy?
Yeah.
But they go into the house filled with zombies, of course, and they just kill the zombies. And they find all these people, one of which happens to be an obstetrician.
There you go. More zombies right there. So
this whole scene was, this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the scene right. But somehow this group of Jesus called them non-fighters was able to live, make it through this house fine, even and unscathed,
and make it through the apocalypse to this point.
Right.
Which is also a little... I kind of assumed everyone at this point was a badass that had survived to this point.
You'd think so. I mean...
Because they make the point of showing people at Alexandria how they were totally weak, but that was a special circumstance.
Yeah, but wasn't the hilltop kind of a special circumstance too?
I guess so.
Because
I guess it is sort of special place as well, I guess.
But one of the people that happens to be in Jesus' group is an obstetrician.
Right.
And they load all these people up in the Winnebago and they start heading back. Let me ask you this. This might be kind of cheesy, but I think this would have gone a long way for me, at least, to understanding their open trust with Jesus all of a sudden. What if he had gotten out of the handcuffs, and then when Rick and them came out, he handed Rick the handcuffs, said, look, I'm out of the handcuffs. I didn't do anything. I didn't try to get away. Here, you can trust me. Calm the fuck down.
Right.
I think that I would have been a little bit cheesy, but it kind of would have helped me understand why Rick is being so trusting with this guy. Because I am so sick of seeing. It seems like every season it's like Rick starts out the season, he's a badass, he's a hard ass, he's not going to trust anybody. Then he's like, oh, now I gotta trust everybody. I was wrong. I should trust people. And then he goes back to not trusting anybody. It's just he does that constantly. I can't take this flip flopping. It's like they aren't doing anything interesting with the characters at that point. They're just saying, I'm just going to do the polar opposite at the beginning and end of every season,
Right.
It gets a little boring at that point.
You're right. And Rick needs to be more Rick, because that's when the group survives. That's when the show's better, and that's when when everyone is better off in the universe, is when he is a badass and he's a dictator.
Yeah.
And, so... he needs to man up, I guess, when he gets flip-floppy like that.
But then they get back on the road, and they start heading back to Hilltop, and they get stuck in the mud. Now, this is a part that drove me crazy. And I know as I'm saying this, I'm saying everything is driving me crazy, but I did enjoy the episode. Let me just...
I know, me too. I've been thinking it apart.
It's just like one of those things that when you start thinking about it, it's like, oh, God, that was kind of fucking stupid. But I did enjoy the episode. But they get stuck in the mud, and then Jesus says, doesn't matter, we're here. And they get out of the car and they look straight ahead where the windshield was. And then there's this giant wall. And she's like, how the fuck didn't Rick just see that wall that was just sitting there? Like, they're all surprised that this wall was there when it was just sitting there the entire time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But they approach the wall, and there are two guys on top with spears threatening a group of people with automatic rifles.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I can't remember this part in the comic book. Did Hilltop have weapons themselves, or was it the same concept where they were out of ammo and they had to...
Oh, man. I can't remember that detail either, and I don't feel like they approached the Hilltop the same way in the comic book that they did in the show.
It's been a couple years
since I don't feel like
read
Jesus was quite as mysterious as he was in the show. I felt like there was a trust time period, but I feel like that time period had passed by the time they finally went to the hilltop.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Jesus trusted them.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right about that.
Quickly.
Actually, like he had to see if they were worthy of going there.
Right.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. Let us
So
know
I
on
think
Twitter
by
or
the time
Facebook
they-
if that's right.
Yeah, I think by the time they got there, it wasn't a confrontational thing. You know, like everyone knew they were coming, type of thing. But could be wrong.
But then we get inside and we get to meet the people. We meet this guy named Gregory, who's the leader of the hilltop, and he lives inside the Barrington House, which is the big mansion that has been turned into a museum. Which also, did you notice this? They said that again, I'm going to pick something apart. They said that the walls were built because the land was owned by a utility company, and it was their store yard. But also the museum, it happened to have a museum on a utility company's store yard. It's kind of a weird little, yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't really understand that, but whatever. You have to let it go because of The Walking Dead. What did you think of Gregory? He was kind of a creepy guy, right? He was kind of like not a creep like he's going to kill you. He's just like I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was hard to read because he seemed to not be. I don't know. It's hard to describe. He seemed to not be very resolute in any of his thoughts. Like, it didn't seem like he really knew what he thought about anything he was saying.
Well, he tells them to go shower as soon as they walk in the house.
Yeah.
That was kind of creepy. I think that was because he wanted to get like a debriefing from Jesus while they were doing that. So I think.
Okay.
I think that's
what that was.
I think. I don't know. They didn't really explain it. They just kind of let it go with that. But it's just story, you know. Who needs story inside of a TV show? But so they sent Maggie to go talk to him. He purposely calls her. What did he call her? Natasha? Natalie? I think he called her the wrong name on purpose just to be a dick, right up front.
Right.
And he starts like dressing her down, like not like taking her clothes off, but like, you know, talking down to her like she's, you know,
just a simple woman.
Yeah. But he said he offers them the ability to work there instead of trading with them because. But I don't understand why he wouldn't want ammo and stuff. Do you think that was just a play just to get them to want to trade more, like to make it seem like he didn't need them as much as they needed him?
He was trying to play poker with them and trying to get them to give up stuff without him having to give up anything. He was just, you know, seeing how he thought he could take advantage of Maggie. I think he's sexist.
Yeah, well, he was like, coming on to her the entire time.
That too.
Well, but then Jesus.
So he totally played her wrong because that's not
who
who Maggie is. She's not. You know, they put her in that position for a reason to talk to him. So
yeah.
But then he has to talk to her specifically later. So
yeah, maybe because he thought he could get off easy because he still thought that about her. Maybe because they saw. I don't know. I don't know, man. But then Jesus explains to Rick and the rest of the group that the work for trade deal is the only thing Gregory's willing to give. And then Rick says that they came for food and they weren't leaving without food. Do you think that was a threat? Like
yes.
They're like, look, you're going to trade with us. We're willing to do this the fair way. We'll fucking take some food if we need some food. Like that's what. Like you guys have nothing on us, you know. I think that's exactly what was happening.
Absolutely.
There. Yeah. And then Jesus asked them to give him a few days to work a deal out. Were they asking them to stay there for a few days, or like?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. He was offering them to stay there.
Yeah.
Where else are they going to go?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know because it was like a day's drive to get there. They said, right? A guy
Did
comes.
they establish that?
Yeah, because he said, "I can take you there. It's a day's drive." When Jesus offered to take him there, he said, "I can take you there. It's a day's drive." I think he said that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then a guy who comes in and announced that the crew is back from taking the drop off to Negan, and that I guess that Gregory had made the drop a little light. And as a penalty for that, Negan had gotten whoever the main, I can't remember his name at the moment, but whoever the big guy was that came back.
Yeah, and his brother.
Yeah, he was supposed to kill Gregory in order to get his brother back. So he stabs Gregory. Gregory doesn't die, but a brawl breaks out between all of them. It gets pretty crazy. Abraham's almost choked out, but he's just laying there letting it happen. He's not fighting back or anything. Is that the part you were talking about? So you thought you heard Sasha's voice?
Yeah, I don't think he heard Sasha. There was some voice. There was some somebody singing a song or something that he heard.
I don't know, man. I don't remember that at all.
I don't know.
I've only watched the episode the one time.
I have too, but there was some kind of voiceover. And I thought it might have been Sasha, but I could be wrong. I could have totally read that wrong. It could have very well been Rosalita, but I don't know what we're supposed to glean from that. I guess nothing yet. I guess that's just to be explained later. What epiphany he had there, you know?
Did you see the guy that Daryl just walked up and the guy that was choking Abraham? Daryl just walked up and broke the guy's arm in half.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
And then Rick stabs a dude in the throat, gets covered in blood.
Brutally, yeah.
Yeah, brutal. Like he's just soaked in blood. And he stands up and he looks at everybody staring at him because none of them are used to this kind of stuff. And he's just like, "What?"
I thought that was so awesome. I loved
so
that.
Gangster there.
I loved that moment, and I was cracking up when that happened. I was like, "Oh, this is great." That's what I loved about the episode, was that part there.
And then after it all ends, Jesus puts a stop to it. Then he takes them all in the house and he explains the Negan situation to him, which lets them know what their bargaining chip can be, and it's that they can basically mercenaries at this point, you know. So they decide they're going to set up a deal to where they're going to kill Negan. Well, Daryl decides this, and they all just go along with it, that they're going to go kill Negan.
Yeah.
And the group accepts, and Maggie sets up to where they get half of all of their stuff. Now, did that mean that that they get the same deal Negan's getting? It's just that they won't be, or just one time? They didn't explain that either. Because I was like, well, why would that be a better deal? Why go through all this trouble? Like, if it's just going to get you.
I assume it's just one time, but yeah, they didn't explain that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to set up a run every month or something, you know, every week or something. I think it's just a one time.
Yeah. Let's see what else that happened in the show. I had some notes just jotted down. Yeah, and then they pretty much just leave to go back to their town and tell everybody what's happening. They asked the guy that whose arm was broken to come with him to help explain the situation.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, he got in the car with him and he said you can help explain the situation a little bit better, what we're up against to everybody, because he's gonna have to go back and deal with Morgan and his non-killing ways, and I'm guaranteed that's going to be an issue. Now, do you see the show slowing down at this point?
Yes.
Yeah. So like the next 4 episodes are going to be slow as shit, and then we have one good one.
Yeah, but it is a shorter season because what we have.
It's 8 episodes.
8 episodes. So maybe not. I hope not, but that's what their trajectory has been to this point. So I don't see that changing.
Well, usually it's already slowed down by now. Like usually you get like the big bang at the beginning, and then it slows down, and then like when every season it seems like I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm done around episode 4, and then they bring you back in by something crazy happening, and then it goes slow again forever. So let's get into what we think is going to happen with the Negan situation before we close out the show. Do you really think that they'll kill off Glenn? Yeah,
I think it's been leading to that since they've almost killed him like 3 times, that it's finally going to happen.
That's exactly my problem, man. That's exactly my problem, because that means that was a waste of the entire middle of last half season for nothing. Why did you even bother trying? It's just like, because now it's just going to be people wondering, is he really dead this time? And I don't know. It just seems like a waste of a plot line. It's
almost like they put it out to a test market and see if people were going to freak out or not. And then once they didn't, now they're going to move forward with their original plan or something.
This is exactly what it was. They didn't know how. It seems like they know what's going to happen at the beginning and the end of a half season, and they have to fill in the middle usually. So they do these like things where you have to wonder, and you have to come back every week to watch, no matter how boring it is. So they put the Glenn quote unquote dying episode at around season 3, and you have to watch till episode 6. I mean episode 3, and you have to watch till episode 6 or 7 to find out if he's alive, and then it's the end of the half season. You know, that's the same shit they do every season. So I don't know, man. All I know is right now I'm happy with the way it's going. It's been 3 decent episodes in a row, and I'm sticking with it like I always do. I'm not going anywhere at this point. Let's be honest. It could be the worst show ever, and I'm just because I'm hopeful for it, not because I don't know, not because I think it's going to get any better. I'm hopeful that it'll get better.
You don't expect it to get better, but you are hopeful it does.
Yeah. What's that?
Is that right?
Yeah. That's all I have for show notes today, man. Thanks for being on. You're going to be on
Thank you.
every Wednesday episode from here on out, right?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Go to complete. That's my other show. I was going to say Completely Straight, but
Go there
Completely
too.
Straight, go to CompletelyStraight.com, download our episodes. But if you want to find my show, this show you're listening to, on any of the other podcatchers, go to mainstreamgeek.com/iTunes/Stitcher/Spreaker/ blah blah blah. Any of those sites. Go there, subscribe.
That's a long URL.
Yeah. Just shut up. You're confusing everybody, Brandon. Go there and subscribe to the show. And when you're there, leave a rating and review. It helps me go up in the ratings. It helps me get found by more people. Also, if you are looking to expand your toy collection or shitty t-shirt collection or anything like that, go to mainstreamgeek.com/nerdblock and use that to subscribe to that. And I think that's all I have for plugs. So I'm going to close the show up, and I will see you again on Friday with Travis Fowler as the guest. Keep it geeky.